Let's go ahead and get started. I was waiting for more people to stream in, but I guess they will be in a bit. All right. Maybe somebody, if anybody knows Beatrice, maybe explain to her that you have to be logged in to YouTube in order to join the chat, right? So, yeah, she's going to try to change devices. That's probably good because she might be logged in the other one. So, anyway, let's start with a real quick prayer. Toda lecha Adonai. בזמן הזה מודיעים אנחנו לפניך כי אנחנו יכולים ללמוד את דבריך. או אדוני, אנחנו אוהבים אותך וגם את דבריך, אדוני. כן יהי רצון כי הלילה הזאת יהיה רוחך עלינו. לכל הדברים האלה אנחנו נברכך בזכות ישוע המשיח. Just thanking our Father that we have this time together, that we're able to study His Word, and we love Him so much, and we love also His words, and I can't remember the rest that I prayed in the merit of Yeshua Mashiach. Anyway. Hey, okay, so shalom to Vicky, Elizabeth, James. Those are the ones in the chat. Okay, and let's just go ahead and pick up where we left off last time. So, we are in Exodus chapter 8, verse 20. Okay, here we are. All right, my left eye is not seeing so well today, so yeah, it's blurry from the left, so hopefully I'll read okay. I guess I could look down, but Shalom Tet. Hey, good to see you. All right, so here we go. Hope that's big enough for you. Oh, by the way, here's the picture. See, they're getting attacked by the bugs. Not good. All right. And it says, Vaya'as Adonai Cain. Okay, so this is the verb asa, ayin, sin, hey. And when it ends in hey, the hey goes away, right? So it's gone. So we only have two letters left from the root of this word. So ya'as means he is doing, making, or he will do or make. In poetry, sometimes it's different, but that's pretty advanced. So for now, that's good. All right. So the vav changes the time. So vaya'as Adonai. So Adonai did or made Cain such. Vayavo alov kaved. So vayavo, the verb is ba. Like Baruch haba, welcome, or Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. So ba is to come or to arrive. Yavo means he is arriving or he will arrive, right? Okay. Vayavo changes the time, and arrived arov kaved. Arov is a swarm, and if you missed it, hey, shalom, Alec. By the way, thank you to everybody who prayed. I was so frustrated last night that we had technical problems and I wasn't able to teach you. I was eager to see you guys again after the great study we had the previous night. So thank you for praying. Our tech is working and I'm able to see you guys. So one thing that's interesting on this one, Arov, as I shared the other night, the swarm, there's different interpretations of what this is. Is it an insect swarm like the artist has here in the picture? We have, of course, in the Chochmat Shlomo and other midrashim, the idea that it was a swarm of wild animals, right? So you had like lions and tigers and bears, oh my, right? All coming in. So it could be that, right? So don't let the picture fool you. It might not be correct, all right? So arov kaved. So this is a word. If you're looking for one word to learn today, learn this root. Kaf, beit, dalet. So kaved means to be heavy or to be weighty, right? To have some weight, right? So kaved. So arov kaved is a very heavy swarm, right? From this we get the verb, the PL intensive kibed, to honor, right? Which means to make weighty. Treat your parents as if they're heavy. Kibed et avicha v'et imecha, as if they're weighty, right? Treat them heavy is really what it's saying. The opposite is true when we're talking about those who curse you, I will curse. In some of those instances, it says mekalalecha or those who treat you lightly, I will curse. And so that's a warning to all of the goyim out there on how they treat Israel, right? It's not just about cursing us. I mean, although granted, the word does mean curse, but it's got this rudimentary idea of treating lightly, right? Not treating with respect, possibly, or not treating heavy enough. Who knows? Anyway, it's the polar opposite of kaved. So to honor is from being heavy, and to curse is from being light, treated like a lightweight, right? Okay, oh great, the number of viewers shot up. That's great. Please remember to click like if you like what we're doing, okay guys? So, vayavo arov kaved. Then a heavy, and whatever this is, it's a swarm of something or a group of something, right? It might be the insects, but it might also be the wild animals, like our Midrash tells us. Arrived. Vayavo. Beita. Oh, this is really nice. So, Beita, it's from the house Bayit, right? Even if you don't know the word, you probably remember the name of where the Messiah was born, Bethlehem, right? In Hebrew, Beit Lechem, house of bread, right? So Beit is house. Beit Pharaoh means the house of Pharaoh, so Pharaoh's house. But the hey at the end might be confusing you. You're like, what is that hey doing there? This is called the hey locative. It means direction towards, right? So they were dispatched the Arov Kaved directly towards Pharaoh's house. He's getting hit first. Of course, they'll hit everything in the path, but they're going Beita, towards Pharaoh's house. This is like the English suffix word. Like we say homeward, I'm heading home. Or I want to be homeward bound, right? I think that's Simon and Garfunkel, right? Two Jews. Yerushalayim, we'll say, towards Jerusalem. So Beit Pharaoh means Pharaoh's house word. Okay, like that. That's that hey at the end there. It's not part of the noun. Okay? Wow, my left eye is really not seeing so well. Uveit Avadaiv. And the house of his, that's the Vav, is his, Avadim, his servants. Uvechol Eretz Mitzrayim. And the in chol, all, the Makef here is telling us, of Eretz, land of Mitzrayim, Egypt. Tishachet haaretz. Okay, so this word, it's a little bit difficult to recognize. So shachat is to destroy, to ruin, like to ruin, better like this. And this one, you see the little dot inside the sheen, the dagesh? That's telling us this is a passive form. In ancient Hebrew, before the Bible, it would have been tin shachet. There would have been a nun there, marking the nifal. That's how we know it's passive, with that nun at the beginning. But over time, it was hard to say, and so they just made the sheen doubled. So it was tishachet. You had like two sheens there. That's why the dot's there. So, was ruined, haaretz, the land. Mipnei, before the presence of ha'arov, the swarm. Now, I think the language here, the bashat meaning of the language, makes a good argument against the midrash, right? Even though I like the idea of wild animals coming in, just killing the wicked, how's that going to ruin the whole land, right? When we talk about the land being teshachait, being in ruins, it seems to me the bashat meaning of the text, the plain meaning of the text is the plant life, right? I mean, so people are getting killed and the land is somehow ruined, right? Now, you could push back and you could say, well, maybe elephants are part of this and rhinoceri and, okay, they're knocking down trees and stuff. There is still a way. But the kind of feeling to me in the text is that we're talking about bugs of some kind. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Okay. There they are, not liking it. Okay. Okay. So see Pharaoh's having a dialogue there. Can you see the whole thing? All right. Good enough. Let me know if the words are not big enough, okay, guys? So like if it needs to be zoomed in, I can pull the camera down on the Hebrew words. Okay, verse 21. Vayikra Pharaoh el Moshe ule'aharon vayomer. Okay. Kara means to call, like, oh, to call. And kara followed by a lamed or with el, those things both mean to or unto. That means to summon or to name. Okay, in this case it's summon. So vayikra Pharaoh. Then Pharaoh summoned, because the el here, he called unto, so he summoned Moshe, and le Aharon. So look, we have both ways. We have el and we also have the la. So the idiom is fulfilled in both ways. Vayomer, and he said, Lechu, zivchu lelohechem ba'aretz. Lechu. So this is similar to a Torah portion we have that's called lech lecha, right? Lech, it's the imperative from the verb halach, meaning to go. So lech means go. If you're talking to a man, go. If you're talking to a woman, like if God had called Sarah, he told Sarah to go, he would have said lechi lach, if he's talking to Sarah, right? Go for yourself. But since he's talking to Avram, it's lech. If he was talking to the two of them, Abraham and Sarah, say his voice appeared to them both, he would have said lechu, lachem, lechu. That's the plural form of the command go. Okay, so that's why it's lechu here. Lechu. Go. Zivchu. See the pattern? Sounds similar? Sacrifice. This is the word this is related to a zevach, which is a sacrifice, and a mizbeach is an altar. It's the thing which you sacrifice on, and zavach is the verb. Okay. Sacrifice. Lelohechem. Shalom. Yeah, you made it in. Great. Yeah, I was thinking about the problem you had before. You have to be logged into YouTube in order to chat. So probably on your other device you weren't logged in. So that's why it wasn't letting you come into the chat. And you switch devices and maybe you're default logged into Google over there or something. Since Android is made by Google, right? So maybe on an Android device now or something. Anyway, just a tip. That's how you can be sure to get in next time early. Lelohechem. Lamed is to. Elohim of Chem. From you all. Right? So remember, the way this really is happening is we have a plural, Elohim, and then we drop that mem, and that Elohe is God of. So God of Chem, y'all, is what it says. Lelohechem, to God of Chem, y'all. Okay. Ba aretz. Be is in, a is the, and then eretz becomes aretz here because it's the. It happens when you put a the on it, and also if it's the last word in the sentence. Kind of strange word. The land. Okay. Lechu zivchu lelohechem ba'aretz. Go and sacrifice to your God in the land. By the way, the Hebrew is capturing the Egyptian speech, of course, right? But in Hebrew, there's different ways to command people, right? In biblical Hebrew at least. So you can command using what we call the imperative here, or you could use something that is called the imperfect. You can tell somebody in an imperfect, or you can use what's called a precative perfect. So there's different ways to make the command not so sharp. Okay, this is a blunt command. He's using his authority. Go and that's it. All right. Okay. There's Pharaoh. Grr, go already. Okay, with the fake glyphs in the background we've talked about before. There's Moshe explaining himself. It looks like the serpent is around, right? They put it right in front of that background, showing. Here we have the Egyptian Uriah. Not bad. Okay. Please make sure to click like if you're new coming in. Okay, so now we got a lot of text to deal with right there. That text block there. That's not too bad. It's only 2 verses, but it's pretty wordy. All right, so let's try to make it so you can see it okay. Again, let me know if you have trouble seeing the Hebrew. If it's too small, I will make it bigger. Okay. Vayomer Moshe. This is verse 22. Chapter 8, verse 22 of Exodus in the Hebrew. Vayomer. And he said, who's the he? Moshe. Well, Moshe. Okay. Lo nachon. It is not correct. La asot. This is from that verb ayin sin hey. Okay. The hey went away. This is an infinitive form. To do, kain, such. Ki, because To'eva. I was just making sure I didn't miss something because I don't remember him saying to stay in the land. Did he say stay in the land? Oh, yeah, okay. Ba'aretz, right, in the land, right. Do it in the land, meaning the land of Egypt. Okay. To'eva is an abomination or something detestable, something people, gross, like that. Ki, for the to'avat Mitzrayim. So it's to'eva. The word ends in a hey. If you want to memorize the word, it ends in a hey. So with a noun that's a person, place, thing, or idea that ends in a hey, if you want to make it say that thing of something else, you change the last hey to a tav. What's really happening is this is how it was in ancient Hebrew. It used to end in a tav, a th sound back then. And then over time, people didn't like to say the th, and it just became ah, and that was enough. But whenever it becomes of, or it has a suffix on the end, it goes back to that ancient form because it wasn't hard to say it with a suffix. People weren't lazy about it. So if it's easier for you to just think about it as it changes, then that's fine. So to'eva becomes to'avat. So the abomination of. Oh, I'm sorry. Look, it's the same word. I jumped down to the same word. To'avat Mitzrayim, the abomination or an abhorrence of Egypt. Nizbach. This is an imperfect form. The n means nachnu or anachnu, meaning we. Nizbach, we will sacrifice. La Adonai, to Adonai. Eloheinu, the God of nu, the God of us. So our God sounds better in English. Hein, behold. Nizbach, we will sacrifice. So together, syntactically, this is probably when we sacrifice. Et, we don't translate. To'avat Mitzrayim, the abhorrence of Egypt. Le einayhem. Le, to, einay is, okay, it's einayim, right? And remember, if it ends in a mem, and it's plural, and you take the mem away, that means of, right? So literally it says to einay, eyes of hem. Hem means them. Okay, that's just how you said it in Hebrew. Two eyes of them. So we say to their eyes. This is how Hebrew expresses in their presence or in their sight, something like that. So I think it sounds a bit better in their sight, but you can be literal if you like. To their eyes, fine, why not? Some people like it. Oops, sorry. Trying to get smaller instead I got bigger. All right. Let's zoom in a bit on this text. I think it might be a bit small. Velo. Now this is, you probably have to translate it first before you notice this. This is a bit, what's happening? It's a rhetorical question, okay? Velo. So I'll just add the rhetoric now so it doesn't take too long. Where is it? Where are we? Okay. Velo, will not. It just says and not. Yiskelunu, sakal, samech, kof, lamed, means to stone, right? Or like to pelt with stones, okay? Yiskelunu, so yiskelu means they will stone. Nu, us. So will they not stone us? Okay. Verse 23. Derech shloshet yamim neilech ba'midbar v'nizbach, pardon me, v'zavachnu, my brain knew it's going to say, and will sacrifice, so I used this form of the verb. V'nizbach, that's what was happening there. Why I read a noon when there's no noon there. Okay. V'zavachnu means the same thing. L'Adonai Eloheinu kasher yomar eleinu. Derech shloshet yamim. Derech is a road or a way. The first followers of Yeshua HaMashiach, they were called followers of Haderech, the way. Shloshet yamim, 3 of yamim, days. So 3 days. We don't have to say the of in English. That sounds weird. Neilech. This is from halach. So this halach is kind of a weird verb. With halach, when it goes to the imperfect form, which is present or future, we lose that hey at the beginning. Okay, this doesn't happen with every verb that starts with a hey. Okay, that's why I remember reading a commentary a long time ago by Ibn Ezra saying it's not halach, it's a synonym yalach. And since it begins in the yod goes away, right? And I thought that can't be right. It turns out it's not right, but he didn't have access to the kind of modern linguistic research that we have today. So, nothing, it's no attack on Ibn Ezra. He just, he didn't know about Ugaritic and these other languages where we have this word actually existing. Okay? Now, why am I getting artifacts there? What's going on? Let's see what's going on. Maybe the color. All right, fine. Neilech. We will go. Ba in the. So bet is in the midbar, wilderness. The wilderness is any place where people don't live. Okay, it doesn't just mean desert, although contextually here desert makes sense, right? Wilderness is like on top of a mountain that has no vegetation. That's a wilderness. Right? Wilderness could be Montana. We even call it wilderness, right? In English, the wilderness, the uninhabited parts of Montana or Alaska or whatever. You see? Okay. So that's why this is often translated wilderness. That's really what it means, right? But it can imply desert. Ba'midbar, in the desert, in the wilderness. V'zavachnu. So zavachnu means we sacrificed. So usually that's a past tense, not always. But the vav changes the time. It means, and we will sacrifice. That's why when I was reading, my brain just kind of sleepily said this word up here, nizbach, which means we will sacrifice. Ladonai, to Adonai, Eloheinu, our God, kasher, according to Yomar, he will say, Eleinu, to us. This is Yomar, he will say, Eleinu, to us. El is to, and nu is us. Okay? How you guys doing? I'm just going to take a drink of my tea real quick. Hold on. All right. Any comments or questions so far? You guys are awfully quiet over there in the chat. Well, if you're not doing anything, click like. Click the like for me, okay? I would appreciate that. All right, let's move right along. Okay, so I'll show you the full picture. All right. Okay. And let's just focus on the text. Verse 24. Vayomer Paro. Then Pharaoh said, all right, thanks, Chet, liked it already. Anochi, can't see the vowel, but it must be Each. Ashaleach etchem, uzevachtem ladonai Elohechem, bamidbar rak, harchek lo tarchiku, lalechet ha'itru ba'adi. Okay. So Anochi. Anochi means I. It's the same as Ani. They both mean the same things. Ani and Anochi. And no, there's no difference. One of my students told me one time that she'd heard a Messianic teacher saying, "Oh well, Anochi is like for God to use, right? Or a king or something like this. And Ani was for the normal person." No, it's just not true. It goes back and forth. Ani is more common, but we do see Anochi being used both by mortals and by God in the Tanakh. Okay. Anochi means I. Ashaleach means the aleph is for I. It's for Anochi. It means I will send. So he's saying I will send. Okay. So this is what we call an emphatic pronoun. The pronoun I is being used for emphasis. So it's something like I will certainly send etchem, y'all. So, pardon me, send out. Send would be just without the dot and the lamed. The dot makes it stronger to be like to send out, to banish, right? Shalach is send, but shileach is to banish, to send out, to divorce, etc. Like you're pushing him out the door, etc. Uzevachtem. Zevachtem means you sacrificed, but the u change, that's a vav, changes it the time. So, and you will sacrifice, uzevachtem, ladonai, to Hashem, Elohechem, y'all's God, ba midbar, in the midbar, in the midbar, the wilderness, rak, only, hachek lo tarchiku. So this is interesting. This is a bit complicated. This is a he feel infinitive absolute that's being used here. When you have what's called this infinitive absolute, you'll notice it when you see the verb repeated twice, okay? Right? So here we have the verb reish chet kuf, and here reish chet kuf, even though they look different in form, right? When you, sorry, let me take a drink. When you see it used twice in a row like that, and the first one is this infinitive form, usually it means like 80% of the time, certainly or definitely, okay? Which matches what he's saying up here, Anochi Hashalech. If you swap the order, it usually means continuously, all right? So harchek lo tarchiko. So be certain not to tarchiku. So rachak is to be far. The word for far away in Hebrew is rachok, right? This is the hefil form of to be far. Rachak is to be far. See the yod stuck in there before the third root letter? That's the indicator that we're in the hefil, the causative form. So to cause to be far. So don't go too far. You all don't go too far. Lalechet, walking. And then he says something interesting. Tiru ba'adi. Okay. Entreaty, it's a command form. Entreaty ba'adi, on my account. So this is an interesting word. It means pray for me, right? But it's stronger than pray. Okay? This is the word that Yitzchak used when he's praying for Rivka to get pregnant. Okay? And when I researched this word a number of years back, I remember learning that there's a South Arabian classical Arabic word, atara, which means a slaughter, like a ritual slaughter, a slaughter for a god, right? So I think that's the origins of this word. It's kind of capturing what it used to mean in biblical Hebrew. It used to mean like slaughter to the god for me, right? So it's you're really serious. You're not just please help me. You're like taking an expensive animal, killing it, all the time that takes, draining the blood, etc., right? Even though it doesn't mean this anymore by the time we get into biblical Hebrew, it does have this stronger meaning. It's not just mitpalel, pray for me, right? It's got a stronger, or or to make a request or etc., Yeah. Okay, so Ted says Pharaoh asked to intercede for him. Yeah. That's what he's saying. You guys, look, it's plural, not just Moshe. Moshe and Aharon, it's the plural form, right? The plural, hefil imperative is what this is. And James says, that would seem like a bizarre request to Pharaoh. Let us go somewhere and do something we don't know what our God will tell us. Yeah, true. But look, what did happen? Eventually, we even get told to do the Ten Commandments and all that stuff, right? So a lot of stuff did happen eventually. But yeah, well, everybody understands what's happening here, James. Pharaoh knows, Moshe knows, Aaron knows, we ain't coming back. We're just not coming back. And so, call it what you like. We don't know what God's going to say. He's sure as heck not going to say, go back, right? Davey says, is this being used like a pun? A good question. No, it's not. This is the normal way you express in biblical Hebrew, definitely, right? Well, one of the normal ways to express, definitely. So, for example, in the Aseret Dibarot, right? In the Ten Commandments, you get this Zachor Tizkor, you shall definitely remember. So we can do it with Zachar. Zachor, that's the definitely part. It just looks a bit different than here because this is a hefil verb, right? It's a causative verb, so it's a little bit different. So Zachor Tizkor, you shall definitely remember, right? If I'm talking to one person. Or I could say Shamor Tishmor. You always use the same verb in that part to mean definitely, okay? So it's not really a play on words, it's just, although we do have lots of those in Hebrew, it's just the way that the syntax works, right? Really, it was something like, like this. I'll give you the example from this one, okay? Really, the way it's being expressed in Hebrew is like, becoming far, do not go far, right? Or shamor tishmor, safeguarding, you will safeguard, right? You see? Or shamor tishmeru, safeguarding, you will all safeguard or keep, right? At Yom HaShabbat, right, for example. Or shamor eshmor, right? So the second verb, that's the one that changes based on who the people are, right? So definitely eshmor, I will keep, right? Or nishmor, we will keep. You change the verb however you like. The first one is the one that's making it definitely, this is a sure thing. A lot of times translators will translate this as surely, right? Surely. But in this case, I don't think it makes sense because he's telling them not to, right? Surely you will not go far. Could be, could be. But he's you better not go far, right? Hey, Shalom Sosa, glad to have you here. Everybody, make sure to click like, okay? Click like, and thanks for giving me the shout outs in the chat. I really appreciate that. I like to hear from you guys. I mean, we got 39 views, but only a handful of you are saying stuff in the chat, right? So, hey, Shalom Marcelo. Great, thank you for saying hi. Appreciate that. Okay, so do you understand, Davey, what's happening with, it's called the infinitive absolute if you want to read more about it. But it's used in that way. If it comes after the verb, then the syntax, usually it changes slightly and it means like continually. So if instead of shamor, tishmor, if instead of saying you shall indeed keep at Yom HaShabbat, the Sabbath day, if I swap those orders and I said tishmor, shamor, now it means more like continuously keep the Sabbath day, right? Which can be expressed. Now, it's only about 85% of the time they can actually be in the reverse order and have the other meaning. That can happen. But this is the usual way it works in the Hebrew syntax. Yeah, you're welcome. Great question. Always love it when you guys ask stuff about the Hebrew. I'm happy to explain. Yeah, I want you to understand it. Okay? All right, so the whole bit, I'll just read it in normal speed for those of you who are coming in. אנוכי אשלח אתכם וזבחתם לאדוני אלוהיכם במדבר. רק הרחק לא תרחיקו ללכת תראו בעדי. And it's kind of weird. I just shoves in that pray for me at the end. I myself, or I definitely, will send out y'all, and you all will sacrifice to Adonai, your God, in the wilderness. Only make sure, that's one way you could translate it, right? Do not go too far walking. And then he's like, pray for me. but that hard form of pray, right? It's originally meant to slaughter an animal for the god, right? Okay. All right. Any other questions? Please make sure to click like. All right, we got a lot more viewers coming in. I appreciate it. Tell your friends. And I'm serious. Click the like. And if you have a question, don't be shy. Probably other people want to know too. This is for all levels of Hebrew learners. We're not just for the advanced students here. This is as long as you can read the letters, or even if you want to learn by watching us, that's fine. This is for everyone. This is learning through immersion, all right? The way that children learn, although we have an advantage as adults that we can also give a little grammar explanation if you need it, all right, or if you like it. All right, verse 25. This is Exodus. Can you believe it? We're already on chapter 8, verse 25. We'll finish up chapter 8 tonight. Vayomer Moshe. Then Moshe said, Hine, Anochi yotzei me'imach v'haltarti el Adonai. Okay. Hine, behold, look, check it out. Anochi, I. Okay, and now, this is a bit tricky. Yotzei is a participle. Participles don't express time. This confuses people sometimes if they studied modern Hebrew first, which I don't recommend. But if you don't have anything better available to you, then okay, fine. In modern Hebrew, this would mean am going out, right? Okay. But in biblical, there's no time associated with this. It's called a participle. So I'm going to supply will because of the context, because I saw the next word. We read the next word down here, okay? So Anochi yotzei, I will go out, may, from, I'm, with, ach, you, the, and hal, tarti, I will entreaty. So tarti means I entreated, like past tense, but the vav changes the time. So I will entreaty, like this is the heavy prayer word we talked about. El unto Adonai, Adonai. James has a comment. Let's see. If this was at Ramses in the Delta, what wilderness would not be far? Well, depending where they were, the Sinai, and even Yeah, it's a good question. Even depending on the time of year, too, right? So you grew crops seasonally in that fertile delta region, right? So, yeah, a very interesting question. Yeah, which begs the question: where's Pharaoh? Is he out? Is he actually out there, close to Goshen, right? So, and how far could a bunch of people like this go in 3 days, right? So remember, wilderness doesn't have to mean desert. It could just mean uninhabited areas, right? For all Pharaoh knows, they might be going the other direction. They might be going like up a mountain somewhere, right? Or they might be, going to the seashore where nobody actually lives on the seashore, right? Or something like that. Yeah, it's a nice question. I like it. I like the thinking. Okay. All right. Vesar, okay. So sar means remove or turn aside. There's two verbs that can be there. It can be the verb sia, which is remove, or sul, to turn aside. They both would look the same way here. James says, I lean toward an early date in Thebes. Could be. Yeah, it could be. He arov, the swarm. Okay. Me, from Paro, from Pharaoh. Me alvadiv, from his servants. Remember, literally, it's from avadim. When you drop the mem, it means of. So from servants of, and then avav at the end means him. Okay, but that sounds weird in English, so we say, oh look, it looks like I'm saying it. So from his servants. Ume amo, and from his people, right? The people of him. Machar. Rak al Yosef. Okay. Machar means like hurry up, hasten. Rak, just or only. Al, do not. Yosef, continue. It's from the verb to add to, right? To add to. Like continue. Paro, so okay. May Pharaoh not continue. So he's like speaking about him in the third person. Hatel, to make a mockery. Levilti, when I have, pardon me, and not, by not, shalach, sending out or expulsing, et ha'am, the people, the am. What's that tear there? What's happened? I have to check out something. Is there a lighting issue? Oh, yeah, I think so. Lizboach, to sacrifice ladonai. Okay, hold on, I want to see what's happening here. Let me fix something real quick. It bothers me. Okay, good. All right. And we're back. Fixed. Okay, I'm going to go to the next. Actually, I'll leave that for a sec for you to look at. I'm just going to have a quick drink of tea. All right, please make sure to click like if you enjoy what we're doing. Okay. Hey, we're just 2 frames away from the end of chapter 8. Can you believe it? We're getting there. All right, so look at this next picture. Pharaoh's got his arms crossed, looking proud. Okay, I'm sorry. Here we are. Moshe's praying. All right. Let's get the Hebrew bigger. Sosa says it was in the 19th dynasty, according to the narrative. No Pithom or Piram, it says, prior to them. Tet says, please explain more. Bilti. Okay. Oh, okay. So, bilti means like not. And so it's for not, but it's a similar form to how we say bli, right? Bli. Like, bli ayin hara, right? When you're sharing something great that happened to you and you're concerned that there might be an evil eye from somebody who's listening, so we say bli ayin hara, right? Just an older form of the same word. Davey says there's a lot of interesting artifacts that have been found in Saudi Arabia in regards to the Exodus. I've heard some about that, yeah. Although the archaeologist who's made some of that really big, I don't trust that guy. In all of his trips, he never has anything to show. I don't know. It might very well be in Saudi Arabia, though. But I'd like to see some evidence. Let's have some evidence. You're welcome, Ted. Okay. So I would say one thing about, so the first thing that came to mind is it seems like Pithom already existed, right? Because that's the name of one of the store cities, right? The storage cities, right? That that he had to be gone because they built Pithom and Ramses, right? But the Bible sometimes updates names to what they're later called, so that's not really a hard pushback on the theory you're espousing. Just something that comes to mind. Yeah, so it could be. Yeah, it could be. All right. Oh wait, do we read this? Sorry, verse 26. Vayetze Moshe me'im paro vayatar el Adonai. Vayetze, so yetze means he will go out, right? Like we say, yetze Torah misrim. Okay, that's not a good example. Okay, so to go out, will go out, is going out. The Vav changes it and says, and went out. So went out Moshe, may from im with paro, with Pharaoh. Vayatar, and he prayed hard, El Adonai, unto Adonai. Verse 27. Oh, it also says, look into the Anastasi papyri for toponyms and other very interesting corroborating details. Right? Interesting. Yeah, thanks for that, Sosa. Okay. From with Pharaoh, and he prayed hard. Okay, verse 27. Vaya'as Adonai Kidvar Moshe. And Hashem did, so that's again asa, the hey goes away. Ya'as is he will do or he's doing, and the vav changes the time. So Adonai and Adonai did. Ke means like or according to or as. So according to Devar Moshe. So this originally was read as one word in ancient times. It would have been Devar Moshe, right? Like, in case you're wondering why the spelling of word is strange, right? You probably learned it with the comments here, right? And so what happened is, just like in English, we can take two words and make a compound word, house and boat. You put it together, and it's a houseboat. We don't say, we only have one accent. We don't say houseboat. Hey, you live on a nice houseboat. We say houseboat, as if it's one word. Same thing's happening here, okay? Devar Moshe. We don't do that anymore, but just so you know, that's why the spelling changed. Because they rush through reading it to get to the next word. And that is also our clue that it's of. The word of Moshe. Right? Vayasa. And removed or turned away. Again, depending on if it's sul or sir. They're the same form. Is that blurry? It looks like it's not. Hold on. There we go. I just have to force it to refocus sometime. He'arov, the swarm. Mit Paro, from Pharaoh, May, from Avada, that's servants, of him. May Avadai, from his servants. We're almost finished. Make sure to smash the like, by the way, guys, if you like what we're doing. Ume Amo, and from Am, people of him, and from his people. Lo, not, Nishar, to remain. So, for example, a Sha'arit is a remnant, right? A remnant, like the Sha'arit Israel, the remnant of Israel. Nishar, remain, it's a passive. The Nun is telling us it doesn't mean to cause to remain, but it means remained, echad, one. Not even one remained. Okay? I'm going to read that verse 27 just with regular speed to give you guys a chance to ask any questions or comments. Vaya'as Adonai kidvar Moshe, vayasar he'arov mi paro, me avadaiv u'me'amo, Lo nishar echad. And sometimes I pronounce the ayans. I know we don't usually do that with Sephardic pronunciation. I just like to throw it in there sometimes so that people can see that they are different words, right? A lot of times people ask me, hey, why doesn't this word mean that, right? Because they sound the same with the modern Hebrew pronunciation. And the reason is because they used to not sound the same. The ayans we pronounced, right? And the aleph were even pronounced too. And aleph, if you're curious what an aleph used to be like, it's like a glottal stop, like a right? So that's what it used to be. It would have been like L. Yeah, that one's hard for me too. Nobody says the aleph today. Okay. Or maybe the Yemenites do. The Yemenites might. They say a lot of interesting stuff. Okay, any comments or questions? Okay. We're on the last frame. Look at that. We're finishing up the chapter. Be a bit early tonight. So I think it'll be nice to start on chapter 9 tomorrow. All right, there's proud Pharaoh. Oh, I'm so proud, Berg. All right. Isn't it amazing that his language is dead now? Nobody speaks ancient Egyptian. Something, right? The Egyptians, they lost their language. They lost it all. They lost their language. They lost their religion. Their culture's totally changed. They speak Arabic today. They don't speak Egyptian. I mean, some of the words survive, right? But for the longest time, they couldn't even read the hieroglyphs. But when I was a tourist in Cairo, the tour guide that was with me, I was showing some of the people what the wall said in hieroglyphs. I was translating it for him, right? And he's like looking like, huh? Because he didn't understand. He's a tour guide in his country, and his language is dead. Our language is resurrected. Hebrew has been resurrected. Am Yisrael Chai. Our people yet live. They lost their language. They lost their religion. There's all of it. They were the big shot superpower of the world. And still, Hashem took it all away from them and restored all of ours. All right. Final verse 28. Vayachbeid paro el libo. So, Yachbeid means he is making heavy, or he will make heavy, unless you're in the Psalms. And the Vav changes the time. Vayachbeid, and made heavy. Who made heavy? Pa'al, Pharaoh. Again, Egyptian word. Make sure to watch the whole series, and I explain some of these Egyptian words in Egyptian. I even kind of explain the hieroglyphs and stuff if you're curious. It means the big house. Et, what did he make hard? Lib o, lev of o, the heart of him, so his heart. Now this word in biblical Hebrew, lev and levav, it doesn't mean heart. That's why it's really, I don't think it's good to translate this as heart a lot of times, right? Because people, we try to put a Western understanding on it then, right? What do we mean? We just had Valentine's Day, right? What do people mean during Valentine's Day? They have the hearts, right? All the hearts. Because it's about love and all that stuff, right? It's about emotions. People think the heart, right? In English, sure. But in biblical Hebrew, no. In biblical Hebrew, the heart is the mind. That is where the ancient peoples thought that the thoughts of a person exist. Okay? If you want to talk about the emotions, like the so-called English heart, the better word to translate from that would be, like in the Psalms, when David HaMelech, he talks about kilyotai, my kidneys. Kidneys are the heart, right? Sometimes the kaved, the liver, right? Sometimes. And we see that a lot in Ugaritic, like one of the goddesses, she cries out of her liver and all that stuff, right? So this is pretty serious, and I can back it up with Jewish Greek, the way Septuagint translates things. So this is very important for you Messianics and you Hebrew roots guys, the mitzvah keepers, Shomrei mitzvot, because that mitzvah that Yeshua says is the most important. What does it say? Okay, you shall love the Lord your God with all your levavcha, with all your levav. And so people translate that all your heart. That's not what it means. Not what it means. It means that gets translated into Jewish Greek as diagnosia, which means mind, with all of your mind. We must love Lord our God with all of our mind. So we study the commandments. We think about how to make hedges around them, right? We figure out ways to make it so we don't accidentally sin, right? This is what it is to love Him with all of your mind. Love Him with all your heart. People think it's like just, going to church and getting emotional, right? You're crying, oh, I just love God so much. And that's fine to have an experience with God, right? To have a connection, to feel hamakom, the ever-present one. But that's not what it means to love Him with your heart. It means to love Him with your mind, with your thought life, okay? So this is what Pharaoh's hardening, right? He's hardening his mind, which makes sense. Or his resolve, I think is how I translate it in my book. Gam also, ba'pa'am hazot. Okay, pa'am is a tricky word. It has lots of meanings. So ba, in the pa'am. So pa'am is like a stride. Pa'am, 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 pa'am. You're walking, right? And we get from that the word pa'amon, which is a bell. Right? Ding, 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 right? Okay. But it can even mean a foot, like in architectural terms, like the foot of a piece, like a table. You know those old tables, they have like animal feet? They're kind of cool, like a lion's foot or something. That's a pa'am, right? Not the usual word for foot, not regel, but, pa'am. And it can also mean like instance, right? Like, you've tricked me these pa'amaim, these 2 times, these 2 pa'ams, okay? And that's what it means here. It's more like time, right? Like instant, not time like time, look what you've done to me. Not that. Pa'am like instance. Let's go with instance. But pa'am hazot, in this instance, literally in the instance, the zot, this one. Velo, and not, shilach, expelled, et ha'am, the people. He didn't expel the people. He didn't send them out. All right, so I'm done with we finished. Look, we're on, next time we'll start on Perek Tet, chapter 9. Great job, everybody. The reason I'm not jumping to chapter 9 right now, because look how long it is. The artist got lazy again. Like a whole bunch of text there, so I don't want to torture you guys with that, but pretty good ending, I think. Any comments or questions over there in the chat? Make sure to click like. I'm so glad you guys are doing this. Stick with it. The immersion is really going to help. You're going to see it really helps. A lot of people, they get academic on Hebrew, and they're in the grammar and all that stuff and the syntax, and they memorize the tables and and the focus on the tables and color coding for the endings. And okay, great. If you're a very highly visual person, that's good. Do that if it helps you. But you got to get in the text. Why are we learning Hebrew if not to be in the text? You're going to study for 4 years and never get in the text? At least not fully? Get in the text. Swim in the text. Even I dare you, if you've got the time, join us on t.me/messianic chat. The description is the link is in the description here. And do the yearly reading of the Nach that we do. We read through the Hebrew Bible every year, the Nach. In the Torah, we read it. Dr. Doreen was talking about this the other day. I think it's 10 times every 7 years or something like that. So come on over. Check it out. Push yourself. The more you can get in the Hebrew text, the faster your brain is going to start remembering these things. And because it is holy, like our God is holy, what's going to happen is you will be helped by the Holy Spirit. You're giving the Holy Spirit ammunition. You're going to be shocked how you start remembering scriptures or phrases that you didn't even intend to remember as the Ruach brings them to mind. Right? Shalom, Joshua. You're very welcome. Joshua says in Hebrew, Baruch Hashem Todah Rabah, by the Spirit of the Lord, thank you very much. It's my pleasure, my honor to be your teacher. See you guys tomorrow, same time. Shalom, shalom. Be well.